Everyone, how's everyone
Hello.
doing? Thank you for coming here. Another episode. Here we have our pets here. This is Wookie. Look at that big guy here. And what is the name of your dog? What is
So
the name
this
of the
is
dog?
our dog Ginger.
Ginger.
She's a Chihuahua, and we named her Ginger because she kind of got sort of a reddish tint to her coat. So we got kind of like that ginger color in there. But
Oh,
she is always wanting to cuddle on your lap, or of course she wants to eat food a lot. So she always begging for food around the table.
awesome. So today we have a great good show today for Transform Tuesday, all related to this guys right here, pets. So look at this big guy here, Wookie. Uh, I know, it looks like a little bear, I think. And well, we're gonna have like really cool transformations today. We have Gustavo and we have Rover here with us today from Data Meaning, and we're very proud. We wanted to start saying that Data Meaning, we were announced, and we're very excited that we were named Alteryx 2021 America's Partner of the Year for the second year in a row. Here on the screen, you can see some of the our friends here at Data Meaning celebrating. It was a big honor for us, and we're super happy about that. Everybody's happy at work because we do a lot of stuff with Alteryx, and very happy that we were able to accomplish that one more time. So, what do you think, Gustavo, about this great accomplishment this year? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was super excited when it was announced, and Data Meeting being Global Partner of the Year 2020 is one of the reasons why I decided actually
hmm
to apply to Data Meeting in the first place.
exactly. Yeah,
So it is a huge deal, and the fact that we're being acknowledged by Alteryx, and it's part of a lot of hard work, right? So we're we're all very excited about it. And 2021, same thing, a lot of hard work, and uh, I'm excited to see what's going to happen this year, 2022.
awesome, awesome. What about you, Robert? When you find out, what do you thought? What were you thought? You've been here for a long time, so
Yeah,
yeah.
this is. I remember
hmm
closing in on 4 years now when Josh came in with Data Meaning, and he had a lot of big plans, and at that time I didn't know that we could do all that stuff, but we brought in some really high powered people, and worked hard at it, and doing real well with Ultrix.
Awesome, awesome. No, and if anybody, if you're out there, if you know Alteryx, we're always hiring Alteryx developers. We're always looking for individuals that are really good with Alteryx. Just let us know. You can contact Gustavo or Robert or myself anytime. But let's start with the show. Thank you everybody for being here again. So Robert has really cool flow transformation related to pets. Today we're discussing data related to pets. So I'm gonna close my screen, and Robert, this is Robert's screen. So let us know a little bit about this, Robert. What is it?
Yeah, so sort of combining a couple of themes here on
Mm-hmm.
on what I've got going, which is, let me zoom in a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've done is just very quickly went to a financial website, and from there I downloaded the stock prices for different pet related companies. So this wolf is Petco. We've got Pet Meds and Chewy, and so the data comes in, like you would expect from a financial thing. They got prices, opening, closing, high lows, and stuff like that. And just with a few tools that we've done here, I added a date column to make sure that we could order it, properly. You don't want it to be in alphabetical order for the months, but you want it to be in regular calendar order. And then using our reporting tools from the reporting palette, was able to create interactive charts and both line charts. And also, this one I think is pretty neat because let me show you the end product, and then I'll show you a little bit at the end
Yeah.
here. Is this is the chart that I created with the Petco data, and you'll notice that this one has got both the high and the low for the day, and then the opening and closing prices each day. So you see what days are the blue ones are where they're going up, and the gray ones when they're going down. So it's a pretty
Mm.
sophisticated chart that you could make just from some simple data in Alteryx. And so I was going to just show you guys this. I know that we're not really a technical demo show here, but I did think this was pretty cool. Is when you bring in the information, you can choose the
I
type
see.
of charts, and so we have things like area charts, bar charts, and here you can see I'm using a candlestick chart,
Mm-hmm.
which is asking for that opening, high, low, and the
Mm-hmm.
closing price, so that you can fill in all the components of this graph. So that's one of the things that I came here, and then I wanted just to compare prices and see how the different companies are doing all across the board within the pet
Mm.
industry. And so going back to my chart on the second page, what I've done is I created both of these charts with this one workflow. And the second chart are three different line charts
Mm.
using Petco, Pet Meds, and Chewy,
Chewy.
and you can see how their stock prices have been adjusting. This is limited to this year, but you can go back
And
further
then
if
I
you
want
need
to
to.
Yeah. So, Gustavo, do you have anything that you wanted to ask Robert about this flow or the charts or anything that you like about it? We start with that question, right? Like, what do you like
yeah.
about the flow? What do you like about this data?
Yeah, I really like the fact that Robert was able to come up with something that's both finance and um, you remember, yeah, Mil, I think the 3 and 3 that we did together was about
Yeah,
personal finance, right?
correct.
So I am really into finance, and it's related to the topic, right?
Yes.
So my when I show you my workflow, it's more related to the pets that
Hmm.
we have, like the domestic pets that we have at our house. But
Very
I
nice.
like that we're looking at three different companies and we're seeing their performance
Hmm.
throughout the year, right?
Hmm.
And like the colors, I think they're good.
Hmm.
Um, I usually try to stay away from green, green and red, right? I don't know if you'd agree with that, but blue and
Yeah.
orange are colors that I always use for these types of graph.
So, Robert, is it possible to change the green? Does it allow you to do that, Altrix, to
Oh
increase
yeah,
the
yeah.
color?
So if we can do that real quick, actually, we can come back
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
to the workflow here, and
Yeah, and then you can show how it
if we
works.
go in
Yeah.
here and configure, this is where we built the line charts. I'll show you where it
Hmm.
says that they're line charts, and then we
Hmm.
can go in and change the colors. And so we see here it's the line, and then if I come down here to my layer levels, we can see the different
Um,
colors that were being used. And so you see here
very
this
nice.
green. We can go in here and change it to what color would be good?
Gray, gray.
Like a gray. Let's see.
Hmm.
How do
Like
we?
dark gray.
Dark gray.
Yeah. So let me pull this over here to a gray color like that,
Hmm.
and then so you can see how it's a
Yeah.
gray now instead of the green. And
Very
then
nice.
so if we run this whole thing again,
Hmm.
the workflow, and of course the workflow doesn't take very long, just a couple seconds to process the data. We can then open that up again.
Hmm.
And one of the things I've done in here is I've these two into one PDF output by
Hmm.
using the Append Fields tool,
Hmm.
laying out that data like this. So then by uh, opening up the new PDF, we'll see that we have that same candlestick here up top, and then in the second page we've got our updated graph with the new color in it. So that's pretty quick and easy to do.
Nice. Well, that's great. I mean, that's great that you were able to show that, because then you can see how good Alteryx is for doing this type of analysis, and you can quickly change it if you're talking with a client, the client prefers a different color or things like that. Definitely, it's so easy to change. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
I have a question.
Yes, good,
It's
of
more of a
course.
technical question to you, Robert, because I haven't used this functionality of Alteryx. I've used it before, but it's not something that I do it often. Can you go up a little bit to the candle one?
Yeah.
This one, if we were to, let's say the first big one, the blue one right there, there's a tendency for going up, right? That we can see there. What I've seen in when analyzing graphs before,
Mm-hmm.
some people they like to circle the top of this candle because there's a tendency of going up. Is that something that Alteryx would be able to do? Um,
Yeah, so there you can set it up so you can annotate the once we've pulled it into a PDF, it's static here at the PDF level unless you have some drawing tools within PDF. But in Alteryx itself,
Mhm.
we can go ahead and use the annotation to like you said, label particular elements within the graph.
nice. Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
this became really interesting. It's something that I might use for myself personally.
Exactly. Absolutely. Was there anything you think, Gustavo? I mean, anything that you maybe when in the transformation on the flow that maybe was not clear to you, or something that you want to ask any questions or anything that you can think of? Like, show the flow, Robert, the whole thing.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
let me back up a little, zoom out a
Yeah.
little bit,
Perfect. Yes.
and there's the flow there. Oh, in fact, I'll navigate these guys over a little bit so we
Hmm.
can stick it all in one
Yeah.
viewing there.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Um, so this is something that we always talk about, right? Like this is just a demo, and we're looking at the stock prices. The output is really good. Um, the like for beginners, people who are just starting,
Hmm.
uh, the one thing that I would say is documentation, right? So
Great.
uh, this is like Robert knows I'm a huge enthusiast of good documentation, and that's because one of the first workflows that I've worked with, it was very well documented. So the fact that I didn't know a whole lot about Alteryx and I was able to understand what was going on, that was extremely helpful to me. Um, Again, this is
Yeah.
just a demo.
No, this is great. Great.
Yeah,
Absolutely great
that makes
advice.
sense. You're right. As I put this together, I was just concentrating on making it work. But you're right. One of the things I know that we've talked about that you can do is you can put these different
Containers.
companies' data into these containers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Then you can give the container a name. Like this one is the Chewy stock data,
Perfect.
so that way you can start to see, it'll be easier for people when they're looking at what's going on to see what data you're dealing with and things like that, so that makes sense.
I really
Yeah,
like
and
that.
you're gonna see my workflow. It's not documented at all, but I do like the idea of containers, adding colors to them, like categorizing, right? The tools. That's something that I find really helpful.
And this is great, because if somebody else is going to reuse this or coming after, or for someone that maybe is in a company and they leave the company, maybe somebody else is picking up these flows and that person will understand better. It's just
Y-
easier for.
yeah, that makes good sense. Like here in my formula tool, one of
Mhm,
the things that I was doing here is,
mhm.
since you get the data from a financial company and it just
Okay.
gives you that day's data, it
Mm-hmm.
really didn't have a column for open. So
Mm.
what I did is I created used the formula so that we could say find the open value, which would be the opening from the it would be the price from the day before. So when I
Okay.
have my actually it's right here. So when I have my multi-row formula tool, what I'm doing is I'm filling in the open price with the closing price of the day before. So by doing that, I was able to quickly add the that column, which was necessary for the candlestick, and you're able to operate there. So like that's one of those things where if I put here like the annotation, and I said right, I can put in here that we want to fill in open values
Mm-hmm.
with closing price closing price from day before. That way,
Mm.
that can be available for people to see, and
Okay.
if somebody else is coming behind, they can look at the what
What
that
is it?
particular tool
Yeah.
is doing, and they can see the process that it is adding to the overall data set.
Exactly. They will understand what is it.
Yeah,
Like what is this doing? How can I, like, if I have an issue, if somebody asks a question or I have an issue with the data, then they can go and it will be easier to update or to change or to add something. Yeah,
yep.
that's perfect. That's perfect. Anything else? Um, so if you were gonna, in addition to what we were just saying, you said some adjustments, that you will do, like for example, adding more containers or documentation.
Hmm.
Anything else that, Robert, that you think when you were done that you thought, oh, I will also wanted to add this in the future or do any other things if you had more
Yeah,
time?
I think one of the things that Gustavo had mentioned was that one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that's nice is when you're building these things out. Let's say if I use this container here,
Mm-hmm.
is I can say I can come
Mm-hmm.
in here to the fill color,
Mm-hmm.
and I can set this color to be a green color, which is going to let somebody who's coming in know that
Mm-hmm.
that's inputting data,
Gotcha.
right? And then we've got some blue tools here, and this is going to be where we're going to be manipulating the data, so
Okay.
we can set it to different colors, and so you get a sense of what is happening at different points in the
You get
workflow.
that visual aspect,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
You, yeah.
the color then takes your eyes to the comments where you can then see what's happening in the
Mm.
individual tools.
What I like about that is, Robert, for example, let's say, or Gustavo, what do you think about this? If you give this to somebody else and there is a problem in the data, or somebody else, let's say a user found an issue, then you can go here and by looking at the color, you can immediately go to that color and then fix it instead of trying to figure out where is it, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, that depends on how big the workflow is,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
For what you're saying specifically, there's a
Hmm.
really cool functionality in Alteryx.
Okay.
Uh, if you press Control F,
Hmm.
you can search for any specific tool, right?
Gotcha.
So, see,
Hmm.
instead of
Okay.
someone saying, hey, get the second select to the right closer to the right top corner, instead of someone saying that, they could say,
Hmm.
hey, there's a problem with the select number 12, right?
Okay.
uh, and if there's a problem with that select, then we'll know where to go. So that's a great call out, and a lot of
Hmm.
people don't
Hmm.
know this functionality, but
Hmm.
I'd recommend anyone to use this reference to just call out issues or anything that needs to be fixed within the
A-
workflow.
a- and it sort of goes together too, where the more one of the things as developers, oftentimes we get into a time crunch, right? We have a
Mhm. Oh
deadline.
yeah.
We have to get things done. But if you have the time and it's worth it to do it for these projects, is, like we just talked about, instead of it actually, why not, instead of it saying select 12, why don't, or 19 here, why don't we change the name to
Got it.
say this is the select for the pets, right? So let me get the right letters, get my hands in the right
Hmm.
keys. And so now when we do that find that Gustavo talked about,
Hmm.
we'll see that we
Mm.
can go directly to the select for the pets, and that will guide us to the right spot.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. And it's all a matter of, again, like this is not a huge workflow, but
Mhm.
I have been in situations that I had like over 500 tools in a workflow, like 600 iterative macros, batch macros, like all kinds of tools.
Mhm.
So I would totally have a hard time um, just communicating to someone where the issue is.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly. Perfect.
yep,
Perfect.
awesome.
Robert, really cool. Robert, awesome flow, awesome, use case of, using some type of paid data. In this case, like Gustavo said, financial, pet stocks. No, perfect. Perfect. So, Gustavo, show us what you got. And thank you, Robert.
Yep.
Great.
Okay,
Show us what you got,
awesome.
man.
So I have
Mhm.
two things to show you
Yeah,
guys. And
absolutely.
the first one, it is not a workflow. I had to show you guys because this is a Brazilian company. So it's
Hmm.
called Pets, right?
Okay.
And they did this thing, and it's extremely interesting what they
Okay.
did.
Yeah.
They created an artificial intelligence that understands the reactions of dogs and pets.
Oh,
So
love
what
that.
they do
Hmm.
is they have like the science behind it is like when they
Hmm.
use the blue gloves with a blue background, the animal only sees what the toy is, right? So it's funny because the artificial intelligence, like
Hmm.
basically what they do, they put a lot of videos of people like just playing with the toys, and the artificial intelligence understands if the animals like or dislike that toy, and if they understand that the dog or the cat likes the toy, it automatically adds to the shopping cart for you to buy that toy. So again, like this is just one way they found to innovate, right? And this is a public company here in Brazil called Pets. They had their IPO last year, I believe, and they're all over the place. So it's just fun to see that they're trying to innovate and understand our pets a little bit more. Yep. And this is the workflow that I brought to you guys. So what I have here are two data sets. One of them being the number of households per location, the percentage of households with pets, right? So we have all this kind of information, and this is all from a weekly challenge from the Alteryx community. And the second one is just information about the states, right? So geographic information of them. So
Great.
at the end, and we can talk a little bit more about the specifics before, but I want to show you what the output looks like.
Sorry.
Here we
Hmm.
have like what are the states with most pets, right?
Mm.
So we're talking about
Vermont.
70.8% of Vermont
Mm.
households have pets, and we see that we have more cat owners than dog owners, right?
Hmm.
So whenever we talk about analytics, it's awesome like what this can do, right? If you were to open, for example, Yamil and Robert, if you
Yeah.
were to open a pet store in
Uh-huh.
any state, where would you open a pet store? Maybe Vermont is a
Yeah,
good place to open one, right?
exactly.
And with this information, we can see that 49% are cat owners and 37 are dog owners. So this is also a great call out because if you see New
Yeah.
Mexico, second state, we have more dog owners, right?
Go to Arkansas. This is interesting. Arkansas is a little bit to the right.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Yes, so you can see almost Rover 30, but look at the pet owners 48, almost 48. Wow.
Yep. So
Wow.
I believe people don't really like cats in Arkansas. Right?
That's true.
No,
Yeah.
there's a lot of rural area in Arkansas as well, so that's why you're going to get a lot of those
Mhm.
dogs with room to roam.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if we get how many do we have here? Three, six. We have 10 states, right? If we
Mhm.
get this 10, then we can analyze. So uh, from these 10 states, are people there more dog people or cat people? So we have one,
Mhm.
two, three, four, five, six. So 60% are dog people. So this kind of information, it
Uh-huh.
helps us make better decisions, right? Not only where to go, but like where to invest, or even states that you relate to, right? If you're like a really passionate dog person, maybe like a cat person, for example, maybe Arkansas isn't the best place for you to go. And this graph right here on top, I know it's, can you guys read this here
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
right here?
Um.
So what's saying it is
Okay.
the red one is above 335. So it goes from red to blue, and the red are the ones with most domestic pets at home per household.
Uh-huh.
And as we can see here, we have a concentration of red, right? So the East Coast is the one that has more pets,
More
like
cats.
more pets in general. Not this one; it does not segregate by dog or cat.
That's
And
Okay.
that's kind of funny too, because if you think if also
Mhm.
in the U.S. we often use red and blue to talk about Republicans and Democrats, so
right,
it's a different use of the red and blue colors.
you're right about that. Yeah,
The
we
That's
can see that
interesting.
this one right here, let me use the pink. This one is where people have less pets, right?
Mhm.
So, is there a reason for that? Maybe the cold. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's just good to know, like
You,
the
you, yeah.
geographic.
You know what is interesting, Robert and Gustavo? If you, Robert, you want, what do you think about this? So on the right of the screen, right, or is the red square? Those are seem to be a smaller state, I think, right? And also maybe because they're more like there's Chicago, right? Like
Yeah.
New York, like New Jersey, you know what I mean? Like those places where people have less space because they're like very expensive, housing, and most people maybe live in apartments or small places. Where on the left, where the green is, or on top where all the people have more space. That's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of this is going to do with population. Like,
Uh-huh.
those Midwest and Northeast
Uh-huh.
states. There's a lot more people there.
Exactly.
I think Wyoming and Montana are going to be two of your least populated states
Mm.
in the continental U.S. So there's going to be less pets overall because there's
Hmm. Oh,
less
that makes
people
sense
to to
too.
own pets.
Yes, that makes sense too. The
Yeah.
population, of course. Yes.
Yeah,
Very interesting. Still super interesting. I like this
Mhm.
data.
Well, and then from a technical point of view, I really like this too because this is using that report map tool, and what's
Hmm.
nice
Okay.
is
Yeah.
is Alteryx started out doing exclusively spatial type things, and what this
Gotcha.
report map thing does is it allows you. You can see that what's happening here is every one
Uh-huh.
of those states
Uh-huh.
is a spatial object. Where what they've done
Gotcha.
is they've taken the outline of the states and they've created. So now you have in this case 48 different spatial objects,
Oh,
and
wow.
then you can color code based on
Mhm.
pet population. In this case, the each of those individual states. So that's nice there because you can see the different shades and coloring is all based on a color scheme that you set up in that report map. So it's pretty interesting that way.
So, Gustavo, what does that the face of and the tool that have the face of the person? What does this do? What is that? Tell me what a little bit
So
about that one.
yeah, that's a great call. Like if you see here on top,
Mhm.
um, the reporting tab,
Yes.
right? So every time we're building a report, and what you're seeing here, this
Mhm.
is a PDF, very similar to
Yes.
what Robert showed us before.
Okay.
Every tool that we see here,
Hmm.
every little square that we see
Hmm.
here, it
Hmm.
has one functionality. This one with the face, the
Hmm.
head, right?
Hmm.
This creates the header. So we
Ah, okay,
see
that's the
cat
header.
and dog ownership in the United States, and this is responsible for creating
Gotcha.
this header. So
The
if
header.
I am, if I want to take a look at the, um, let me,
If you click on the message, you can see the output thing there.
right. Oh, there you go.
Mm,
So this is what it does. I'm seeing the cat dog ownership in the US,
got it.
and then this creates a PDF, right? And as we're talking about these reporting tools, let's
Hmm.
say you're in a company and you want every time that you run a workflow, you want this to be sent to someone, right?
Hmm.
You can use the email tool, the first one here.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
every time I run, I can configure it to send to Robert or to Emil or to whoever I want. So
Anyone, yeah.
these uh, these tools, they're very powerful and there's so much to learn about them. You learn something new about them every day.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways that I've used that email tool is that's pretty interesting too. This is not exactly about pets, but I found it really interesting. Is on a project recently. Is I using the
Mhm.
render tool created a PDF output, and then using the block until done, use the email tool to attach that PDF to the email that was being sent out. And
Mhm.
so that
Oh,
way
that's
you can get that you could create the report and
Mhm.
send it in an email out to the person on the same as an attachment out there.
That's really nice.
yeah,
That's really nice.
it's
And
really cool.
okay.
And what
Mhm.
about the? I want to get your perspective, Emil, about the visual here.
Okay.
So let me. What do you think of this visual?
I like the map. Um, like what Robert said. Maybe the colors you could be a little bit different. Um, just because of the usually because of the red. Maybe you can change you can change the colors easy, right? Here, right? Is it possible?
Yeah,
Uh,
it
to change
it's
within Ultras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the report map, it lets you create ranges of colors, right?
Ranges of
So yeah,
colors.
you can go in there and you can say that the high numbers are
Mhm.
green and the low numbers are red. So you can do that too. Where you're going to see under the layers, you're going to see that there are actually, yeah, I think it's under the go to the polygon right there.
Which
If you
one?
click
This one?
on the polygon spot right down lower, yeah, right there. And so in that polygon, if you click on the theme,
Theme.
so under
So
theme,
cool.
you'll see the colors where you have the blue and the red. So
Mhm.
you can change the high and the low, and then it will shade them to whatever you want in between that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's the where you can do that.
I see.
Cool. Let me zoom in so people can see it.
Okay. Yes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I were to run this again, we would have a green and red visual, and it
Okay.
only takes a second.
Oh yeah. Perfect. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives you a
You-
whole different look at it.
Yeah. I personally like this one better than the other one.
Yeah. Easy to understand. You can see the green. Um.
And
and
when you do that, those four states that we talked about that you originally
mhm.
had the rectangle around, those really stand out as
It's
having
now. Yeah.
a different level than the others.
You can see
Yeah.
Maine, Montana. What is that?
Wyoming,
Wyoming,
North and South
North
Dakota.
Dakota. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And you can see the difference here where it's just Florida and Tennessee, North Carolina. And you can see that big difference, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine message me and say, "Hey, I wonder what this map would look like in Brazil," and I'm starting to think where I can get this data to do this analysis for Brazil.
Yeah. Do you think in Brazil most people have dogs, right? More than cats, or doesn't really?
Like I can't really say. Like Brazil is like huge country. I know that in São
Yeah.
Paulo it's mixed. At least like people I know cat people and I know dog people.
Wow.
But
Interesting.
I haven't seen a lot of people who are both dog and cat people. Like
Mm.
people tend to choose one, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Does a lot of people in Brazil? Do you think they have other since they have maybe access more than the U.S. to other pets like birds or things like that? Because I have my neighbor. He's from Brazil and he have two birds. He said that a lot of his friends over there have birds too.
Well,
But
my joke with a lot of our Brazilian coworkers here is, maybe they have monkeys as well. They could be pet monkeys with
yeah,
the-
from the movie Rio, right?
from the
yeah,
Rio
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I think I heard that it was easier to get them the birds. I'm talking about the birds in Brazil because it's easier or cheaper
yeah.
maybe than here in the US. Yeah.
It depends on the birds because if like parrots, for example,
Parrots, yes.
they're considered wild animals, right?
Mhm.
So it's legal to have them at home.
Mm.
So people who have them, like if they're rescues or something, there's a phone
Mhm.
that you can call, and it's from the government. They take charge on like rehabilitation for those birds, and then reintroducing them to the wild, right? So like, but the other, the smaller ones, I know people who have it, and you can easily go to a pet store and get one.
Awesome.
I do have a friend who has a snake, so
Oh.
yeah,
I was going to say too is when you're if we, I live in Florida,
Mhm.
and one of the things is in Florida, just about everything grows in Florida. So,
Mhm.
like in addition to my dog that I have, I've got some red ear slider turtles, which are aquatic turtles. I've got a koi pond, so I've got
Koi pond. Yeah.
fish as well. So you're gonna in a place like Florida, you're gonna see a wide variety of animals in addition to dogs and cats.
yeah. And also, if you're looking to adopt a lizard, you don't
Mhm.
even have to pay for it, right? Because like every time that I've been to Florida, I would literally just be walking down the street, and a bunch of lizards would be crossing the street, and I had to be careful not to step on them. So
Yeah.
if you're a
We have
lizard,
someone from the chat, Laura Carrasco. She said cats are growing on people here. She said.
yeah,
Um,
Lara is also from Brazil,
from
and
Brazil. Great.
Yeah, he's from Brazil, and it's funny because um, I've met a lot of people who got pets, like got new pets in the pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my sister is one of them because they're home officing a lot, they're staying home. And one of the main reasons people would get it before is because they would be out the entire day and the pet would be alone. But now that most people are working from home, then everyone
Hmm.
got new pets.
Exactly. No, they I heard that a lot of people were, adopting pets and things like that, to the highest increase ever, which is a good thing, a really good thing. And that was happening through the pandemic because people were alone or
Well,
they couldn't get out.
that's a good thing as long as they keep the pets when they have to go
Yes.
back to work. Because I know down here in Florida, one of the things is happening
Mm-hmm.
is like in the Everglades, where
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of swamp and that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People have released their pet snakes, the large snakes, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're competing with the alligators for top predator in that area. So
Mm.
they actually have hunts now where they'll let people go in and kill those large snakes to keep the the population down. So um, pets getting pets is good, but you want to make sure you keep your pets and at home so that they don't have invasive species the to compete with the native species wherever you're at.
Wow.
Yeah, what you mentioned hunting, Robert, that's one kind of data that I would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do this next time because I have no idea if hunting is something that has been growing through the years or it's like been going down, right? Because I
Mm.
know there's some states in the United States that allow that and some that don't. So, do you have any perspective on that?
Um, I I think well, I don't know, but what my perspective from when I've talked with friends and stuff like that, I've got a lot of friends who when it's deer hunting season, they go and hunt deers and so it still seems to be pretty popular. Again, in the U.S., it's going to be, as you guys were mentioning earlier, it's going to be more popular where there's more wilderness area. So a lot of those Midwest and Western states where there's more open area, you're going to see a lot more hunting in those. And in the South as well, because it's a traditional thing in the South for for people to go out and hunting, especially like in Georgia and Florida these days too.
Mm-hmm.
That people will
Mm-hmm.
hunt the wild boar because they're like everywhere, and so people will go and get those guys as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a generation thing also, right? Like
Okay. Yeah.
I'm 24 and I have no friends that are interested in hunting. Not at
No.
all. Friends from the US, friends from Brazil. Like I've never seen anyone in my like age gap saying
Generation.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really interested about hunting. Like I can't wait to like travel and go hunting. I've never heard that before. So
Hmm.
going back to what I was saying, I feel like it's going to decrease, right? Um, the hunting
Yeah.
across the years. That's what I think it's going to happen.
Well,
Very
that
interesting.
that makes sense. I think like you said, generational, and then also like we said, regional, because where you have more cities, you're going to have less hunting because it's
Mm-hmm.
just what people are spend time doing. I myself am more of a city raised person, so
Me
you know
too.
t- to me I get sad when I see those videos where one animal like a lion goes and kills a deer. To me that I get, oh man, that's bad, but that's part of nature, and so but the
Yeah,
people who grew up in more of a country area where
Yes.
that's a more of a regular part of life, then they're going to
What
be more likely to be hunters and stuff.
what about Gustavo fishing? What about fishing? Do you like that, or have you heard more people going and going on a boat and
Yeah,
fish?
yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard like I know some people who like fishing. That's a great question. But I feel like um, there's a sport for fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there is one for hunting as well. But if you shoot a deer, there's nothing you can do after, right? Like when you're when you're fishing, you can always um,
You can release the fish. Yeah, they do the catch and release a
Yes,
lot.
that's
I, I'm
true.
not I'm not personally a big fan of fishing or hunting for sport,
Mhm.
just because it hurts them, right? So I don't see a point for that. I like soccer. I think soccer doesn't really hurt anyone, and like no animals are hurt at the end of the day.
Yes, yes. Just the other team. The other team.
Just the other team when they lose.
Just the
Yeah,
other team. Yes. This visual that you're presenting here, this one in the screen, I was
yeah.
looking at it. I think it can be redone somehow. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. But I mean, if it takes you and explain. I mean, it definitely tells you in each state which one is higher or lower, right? Which is so it makes sense. So it works. But I think it can still maybe done in a different way, maybe with a line chart going across, so you can see the up
Would
and
you
down.
connect the red ones and the
Yeah.
blue ones?
Uh-huh. The other
Yeah,
thing is, yeah. What do you think, Robert? Another way to do it.
Yeah, it almost seems like if you made those area within for the dogs and cats so that you could sort of get a relative
Yeah.
size of each one of them
Yes.
within those larger
Correct.
bars. I
So
think that would make sense.
what is really interesting here, Gustavo, is what we call the gap, right? Or the variance between one or the other. For example, you can see in Wyoming, if you were connecting those dots, it would be very small variance, right? Between blue and red.
yeah,
But in Vermont, it's a large gap. Or actually in Arkansas, it's pretty large.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
So I think
agree.
so
And
somehow,
like
yeah.
the three companies that Robert showed, like this is data that they probably see it every day, right?
Hmm.
Because it impacts directly their
Hmm.
market,
Hmm.
and like I don't see how the dog cat gap would help those companies make better decisions, like business decisions. But
Hmm.
I know that the households with pets, it like 70% is insane for Vermont, right? This is a
Hmm.
huge number. So if you know 10 people, seven of them are going to have pets. That's insane.
That's
So
incredible. Hmm. The other thing about this chart is the title. The title should be top 10 states. These are 10 bars, and it should be top 10 states because there are like,
mhm,
50 states, or I mean, or like in
yeah.
continental US, 48.
48 in the
So
yeah.
it should be top 10 states with the highest percentage of household with pets, something like that.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah, I agree.
top 10 because there are 10 here, and then this percentage is percentage of household, yeah, of household with pets. Okay, gotcha. Yes, so that's interesting.
Yeah, and one other thing, I don't know about you guys, but this is not the kind of visual that like I don't read magazines anymore, but if I did,
Uh-huh.
this is not the kind of visual that I would be like going through a magazine and I would see it and I would stop
Hmm.
to look at it because it looks kind of
Mm.
boring. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't call like any attention, and maybe we can play around with the colors a little bit,
Yes.
and
The
also
other, yeah.
I think the lines would also help.
The other
Yeah.
thing that got my attention right now, and I didn't even notice this, the cat has, it looks like a like an, a star, or like a, It's
Yeah,
not
Yep.
a square. It's like what is that? It's like, yeah, it's like a little star or like a
yeah. It's a little star for the cats and a square for the dog.
the dogs. Yes, yes.
Yep.
Oh, and you know what I just noticed too is that the bottom of the bars is not zero, but
No,
it's
the
30.
30.
Ooh.
So that
Okay.
could throw you off when you're looking at it because so it's not that in Arkansas that there are
No.
zero
Yes.
households with cats, but
Yes.
it's more like 30%. So you have that you have a it's a different thing because I
Yeah.
was thinking they must really hate cats in Arkansas.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't like this. To me, I don't know
No.
if you agree with me,
Yeah.
Emil. You're the specialist, but I always like to see graphs that start at zero.
Correct, correct. And no, no, you're right. And I noticed that. I was just waiting to see if anybody noticed, but I was gonna say, yeah, a 30. Yes, absolutely. Zero. So what happened is probably when in the settings, there is probably something that says starts at zero. Like maybe you have to check mark that or something. Most of the tools are like that.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Where you have to like check. Probably this isn't automatic right now. So when it's in automatic, it does that.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I think that sometimes the charts do. It makes sense to
mhm,
if you're going to start from zero. I've seen those charts where like they will there will be some kind of visualization that shows you that there's a break in the numbers,
okay.
right? So like if you're doing a percentage thing and everything's between 70 and 90, you don't
Hmm.
need to really see 0 through 50 so much, but
Hmm.
you put some kind of visual that says that shows you there's a break in the numbers before you get up to that 70 to 90 number kind of thing.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
this is
like
good.
in this case, I don't think it would make a difference, right?
Hmm.
If we added 0 to 30, like it
Yeah,
wouldn't be it wouldn't be anything.
yeah. So you're just looking at the top 10 states. So that's what you wanted to know: which one is the highest, which one is the lowest of the top 10. So you have
Yeah.
Vermont, Wyoming. I mean, it's very interesting that let me see, one, two, three, four, five, almost six of them are almost the same, right? Almost
Yeah.
from my Maine to Wyoming is almost the same percentage. I mean, the total percentage, not dogs or cats, but the
Yeah.
total percentage
Oh,
of,
this
yeah,
right here.
almost the same.
Yeah, that's
Almost
Yeah,
the
true.
same.
It's I think that's showing us that there's a pretty, pets are pretty popular across the US, there's
Mhm.
some variance, but it's more same than it is different, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of these states are going to be in between that 60-70%, and there aren't going to be I don't even know about the Wyoming and stuff as far as whether I don't think you're going to see 0 or 10% or 15%. You're going to see a lot there's a lot more
Yeah.
continuity in the numbers.
What I would like to see, tell me, Gustavo, what do you think about this
hmm
insight? If we take the 50 states and if we group them in buckets and we say from 20 to 30, from 30 to 50, how many states where is the concentration? Will it be that, let's say, 30 states are from between 40 to 50? Because that would be cool to see that. I mean, like maybe half of the states or more are within almost the same range. That would
yeah,
be cool to know, right? Like
I
something
agree.
like that. Something like that.
Yeah, that's something that I'd like to see as well.
Yeah.
And like not saying that these two visuals don't matter, but I think there
Mhm.
are other very cool stuff that we can do with these data sets, right? And like these data sets, it gives us so much information. We could spend like hours here talking about everything that we can do with them, and what we're capable of, right?
Mhm.
Even with them. So, so yeah, that's a great call.
So if you go back to the map, Gustavo, because I saw something. Go back to the map. You have the other one, which is okay.
Yep.
This one. So think about this. If we were gonna count all the ones that are brown, that's probably what I'm talking about. Like all you think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
1, 2.
like 21, I think. Right? How
Yeah.
many you counted? Yeah. How many you have? What do you think?
Yeah, 21.
So
22.
22 out of 48, almost half, it's the same range.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right. So
So
25 to 92.
so that means that half of the country have almost the same percentage of pets. That's incredible.
Uh-huh. I agree.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to know one thing that Robert mentioned. I don't know if this is considering population, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. I don't know
Like,
that
if,
either.
yeah, that's unclear to me. And pet density per state. Does the word density mean that it is considering population? I'm not sure.
I
So
think it is, but I
yeah, so
think.
this is
Yeah.
either a call out for the data, it's like how it's presented, or to the title, right?
Mhm. Yeah, maybe the data needs to be studied more or dig in more to understand that. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, and I'd love to know, maybe, like, we're not specialists on the pet market, but I'd love to know why it's why is the highest on the East Coast instead of the West
Mhm.
Coast, right? Is
That's
it
true.
maybe because, I don't know, we the data that we get? I know that the data that we get from New York is the best. Like, if we go to the government's website, and we're like, we can find all kinds of data about New York, and it's not the
Mhm.
same for Nebraska, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe that could be a reason. Not sure.
You're right. So there's a lot of good questions after question. That's the idea of doing analysis and working with data. It's just that you have probably more questions. So you have to go back and create more transformations
Yep.
and create more and
Agree.
more data or find more data. But
But
this
that's one of the things that we like about Ultrix is really you can create all kinds of analysis pretty quickly.
exactly really quick.
It's very easy to modify and put out another report.
Exactly. That's the good thing. You can add to this flow here anywhere you want and do that. That's a great idea. So we're pretty much at the end of the show. For everyone, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Rover and Gustavo, for being here with us today, and hopefully you can come up, of course, anytime. We have always different topics every week. We're gonna have beer. I know that we have the Star Wars Day. We have. I heard that we have one day for St. Patrick's Day, and you name it. Sports. So if anybody wants to be with us here, please be with us anytime. Anybody's invited. Just bring your any transformation tool, anything that you have done with some data. Show us. Be with us here, and anytime anybody's invited. But thank you so much, and again, thanks to Data Meeting for again being the America's Partner of the Year, and hope to see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining, guys.
Thank
Enjoy the
you.
All
rest of
right,
the week.
Bye bye.
everybody.
Have a good weekend, and everybody have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.